Hello, and welcome to Tween Project this month, Borax Crystal Snowflakes. All right, so to kick this off, like we always do, we go over what you are provided first. So what you're gonna find in your little bag. We have our 3 tablespoons of borax powder. It will say borax on it. You're going to have your blue food coloring in a little baggie. You are going to have your yarn. Yours is actually much longer than this. I made you guys a lot more yarn so that way you could do this multiple times if you wanted to. You have your 3 5-inch pipe cleaners, and then you should have 6 of your 1.5-inch pipe cleaners. Okay. Now what you are going to need is you are going to need water. You're going to need a way to boil it, whether that's on the stove. I don't recommend the microwave, but if needs are what needs are, then microwaves will work. Or personally, my favorite, which we will be using today, is called an electric kettle. 10 out of 10 recommend. They are fantastic for more than just making tea. You're going to need a liquid measuring cup. Normally what you guys see are things like this. This is technically a dry goods measuring cup. It is a different amount than a liquid one. A liquid one is going to look like a little jug. Okay? And you're going to need a jar or a bowl. And it's going to be large enough that your snowflake won't really touch the sides or the bottom. If that happens, it's not the end of the world. It's totally fine. But it does change things up a little bit. You're going to need a pencil or a chopstick or a stick. I mean, they are all over the ground right now. It's actually not too bad out right now. So, I mean, like, not the worst time. Okay, so let's dive in. All right, so first step up is to take your 3 5-inch pipe cleaners and twist them together to form a snowflake. Now, the easiest way that I've found is you have your one central piece, and then you have your cross piece, and you're gonna put those together first. Okay, so we're gonna twist around the central one to make sure. Now, if you have a smaller bowl or jar that you're putting your snowflake into, you do not have to leave it as wide as this. You could twist the top part down and then the bottom part up. And there you go. You've got it a little bit shorter now. And you can just keep doing that as many times as you really need to in order to make it the size that's going to fit. All right, and then we take our third piece and you're going to turn your cross into an X, and you're going to put your third piece also around the middle. So then there's that, and that, and that, and that, and then da 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 da. You have the beginnings of a snowflake. Not everybody's is going to be perfect. Not everybody's is going to be the same. But honestly, that's the best thing about snowflakes is every single one is different. So then we're going to take our little bitty guys, our 1.5-inch pieces of pipe cleaner, and we're going to twist them around each end of our snowflake. So we're going to go right to the top, right up here. You're going to center it up, and then you're going to go once around this way. I'm going to take that other side, and we're going to go once around this way. And then it sticks up on either side like that. So you're going to just turn and go around and then swoop and swoop. And honestly, this gets a lot easier with practice. You get a lot faster with practice too. My first snowflake looked a hot mess. Ugh, she was not a pretty girl. But she worked. And the wonderful thing about pipe cleaners is as long as you remember which way you twisted them, you can untwist them and try again. So take it to the middle like that. Take one end over and then the other end over. And make sure that you spread it out so that it looks real nice. All right. And then we go again. And we do that. Okay, and then our final one, T. Put it in, put it around, and around. All right, so your final product should look something like this. It's not the most wonderful snowflake in the whole wide world, but that's okay. It's mine. So then you're gonna take your yarn, and honestly, with how much yarn you guys have, it might be best to do this in 2 pieces. First piece you're gonna take is you're gonna wrap it around one of your fronds of your snowflake. I like choosing a stumpy one. You're gonna wrap it around, you're gonna take it underneath and wrap it around, and then up and up. This is what works with 1 piece. If you guys have 2 pieces, feel free to go as crazy and fun as you want to. So then we're going to tie it off. And I'm just going to do a simple knot. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Just tie it off. And then there we have our snowflake. And you can trim up the excess yarn if you want. That's totally fine. So what I'm using is actually a paintbrush because it's long enough to go across the rim of my bowl without falling inside. The reason I suggest doing this in 2 pieces, especially if you are newer at doing things like this, is that trying to make a loop that's going to sit on your pencil is going to be a pain in the patootie. If you really feel like you can, rock on, go ahead, do it. I'm going to show you how. Okay, so we've got it tied to our snowflake. You're going to take it underneath and you're going to put it on a thick part. Make sure you put it on the thick part, because if you tie it really, really, really tight to the thin part, you're never going to be able to slide it off. So go around once. And then twice. Make a nice little knot. And then there we have our dangling snowflake. All right, so in the next part, this is going to be hot liquids. We're dealing with boiling water. That means that you guys need to be extremely careful and potentially have an adult with you. I do not want anybody getting burned. Okay? All right. So this is my bowl. It is what I had available. So it is a little bit big for really what we need it to be, but it works. You are going to take your liquid measuring cup and just straight from the sink, pour it out, and you want to figure out how many cups fit into your bowl or your jar or what have you. You're probably going to find something small enough that it will be about a cup of water, which means you will really only need a little bit of dye and the borax that you have. For something this big, you're actually going to need quite a bit more borax, because it's about 3 tablespoons per cup is the solution. This takes this entire kettle's worth of water to fill up. So this is a big boy. This is my kettle, if you guys can see. It's already got the water inside, and it just sits on its charger and will heat up and boil for us. So once you have figured out how much water you guys need and how much you have, you can go ahead and boil that water. So with mine, I just flip a switch and it'll start boiling in short order. All right, and while our water is boiling, we're gonna go ahead and put the borax in our container. Oh, you are also going to need a spoon of some kind. For this size, I actually need quite a bit of the borax. So I have my borax in my bowl already. If you want to, if you're making this like in a pot on the stove, you can, once the water boils, you can add your borax and stir all of everything into the pot, and that will work just fine. You can also put it in your bowl, and that will also work just fine. So our water is boiled, we have our borax in, and we've got our food coloring standing by. So take our boiling water. It is hot, 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 hot. I'm just gonna pour it straight in. I'm pouring the whole darn thing. Okay. And then because we had to use 7 cups of water, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come on, and 7. All right, and that's really all the coloring that you're gonna need. Take your spoon, and you're actually gonna just make sure that you make a clear, not clear because you've added blue dye to it, but it will not look cloudy when you are done. The borax will completely dissolve into the boiling water, and it will be this really nice solution. Like chunks of borax, just make sure you break them up. And you want to make sure that it gets all thoroughly stirred. You also want to make sure that you use enough borax for your solution. So if you're using more than a cup, you're going to need a little bit more than the borax you have. I am sorry. But trust me, if you don't use enough borax, you will not get any crystallization, and it will be a very sad snowflake. Yes, that just splashed me. Yes, it hurts. So please be careful. I've worked with boiling water for a very long time. I'm very used to it. Do not stick your hand in there. Okay, so you see how it's starting to clear up? Well, on camera it doesn't really show, but you can kind of see how you can see the spoon in the bottom. And it's not as cloudy anymore. No big chunks of borax going on. So we take our spoon out, shake it off, and we're gonna take our snowflake and bloop, dunk it right in. Don't worry if it peeks out just a little bit. That's okay, because a little bit of science for you. What it's called is called a capillary action. And the capillary action is basically the pipe cleaner will soak up the water and it will pull it up to the parts that aren't stuck underneath the water. So they will get moisture and they will get borax on them. If you're really concerned about it, you can definitely swirl it a little bit just to make sure every part gets nicely immersed. Actually, that's not too bad. All right, and then the most important part, you are going to walk away. Now put it somewhere safe where it's not going to be in anybody's way. It's not going to cause a problem or an issue. But you're going to walk away and leave it alone for a day. 24 hours minimum. Now, because school is, I believe, still in session right now, that shouldn't be a problem because you basically just leave it overnight, go to school, and when you get home, you can pull it out, okay? And you'll get some beautiful crystallization. The longer you leave it, the bigger and chunkier those crystals are going to be. So I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm actually going to show you one that I made already that sat for 2 days, for 48 hours. And it got chunky with crystals. It's so pretty. I love it so much. It's a little bit funny. It's not the prettiest of all, but I love her. She's mine. I love her. It's very heavy, actually. So it is perfectly fine. They are a little bit fragile. You don't want to go swinging it around or smashing it on the ground. but it is really nice. They're very pretty. They're very sparkly. I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but she just glitters in the light. And then you're going to want to pull it out and let it dry. Make sure you turn it over so that both sides dry. And then you have a beautiful snowflake, crystal snowflake ornament. Personally, I like to make them as ornaments. That's why I always like to leave the little loop at the top, because then it's something nice and homemade and beautiful. Or, you know, whatever floats your boat. All right. That is this month, Borax Crystal Snowflakes. I hope you guys have fun. Be safe. Remember what I said. Boiling water will burn you. Do not play with it. Do not think that it's just, you know, just because it's part of a craft doesn't mean that it isn't something that should be taken seriously. Please be careful with boiling water. All right? All right, have a great holiday and enjoy your 2 weeks off of school. I think they still do 2 weeks off of school. So enjoy your vacation time and have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate. All right, we'll see you next month with, make your own beeswax candles. That's going to be super fun. And another one that we have to be very careful with because of heat. Okay? All right. See you later.